Hi everyone! Today's video is going to be all about my fountain pens and inks and everything that I own. And I'll talk a little bit about how I ended up getting started in it because it took me a while. For some reason, I just did not have a pull towards fountain pens. And I think it was just because I was really trying to get my paper system all sorted out. And I was more concerned with that. I didn't really care about what I was writing with too much. So I did get my first fountain pen. I think it was like Christmas 2018. And I ended up getting these two Diplomats. And it's this very slender pen. So I got the black one and yeah, which goes here. And then this silver one with a gold clip and band and end. So, okay, I did not buy these. My husband bought these for me. And it's so silly because I had told him that I wanted to start getting into fountain pens, or I wanted to have one and I wanted to see what they were all about. And I didn't know anything about fountain pens, and he surely does not know anything about fountain pens. And he picked these out for me. And I remember telling him something along the lines of, oh, I'm not really sure which kind I want, because even though I didn't know a lot, I knew enough to know that there was a ton of options. There are a ton of options. And that was overwhelming to me. So I didn't know where to start. And he was just like, don't tell me what you want. Like, I'll pick it. And he said, you want like a slender pen, right? And I said, yeah, sure. And so he randomly picked these out. I don't know how he chose them, but I don't like them. I have them right now, but I'm actually going to be sending these to my mom because she is getting into fountain pens, but I just think she wants a few to play with. I don't think it's going to be some hard-hitting hobby for her or anything. So I thought these would be perfect to give to her. This one has like never been used. And this one, I don't know anything about these, by the way. This is the very first one that I wrote with, and it's inked, but it's so lightweight. I don't enjoy this. I don't enjoy the texture of this barrel. And if I go for black, I like it blacked out. So I don't like any shiny things on it, like the clips and bands and things. So bless his heart. It was really sweet, but he had no idea what he was doing. But if he bought these two, he bought them at Goulet Pens, it came with a free ink. So he got me this Monteverde Green, and he knew that green is my favorite color, but I just really don't care so much about this ink. I've used it a handful of times, but it's not my thing. With all the options and all of the sampling that I've done, I just will never go back to this. So I'm pretty sure I'm just going to give this to my mom as well. And yeah, so that was like a hard start for fountain pens for me. But I do remember writing with this for the first time, and it was my very first time using a fountain pen, and it was a bit of an experience. You know, I was just kind of like, oh, I'm really writing with a fountain pen. This is what it's like. And yeah, so that was, we're done and over with this. I guess these are like fine nib. Yeah, it's got an F on there. So it's a fine nib. Came with a cartridge and apparently a converter, but I just don't care about these, and I don't care to know about them. I just don't like the way they look. My husband has already forgiven me. So, and I forgive him too for dipping his toes into something he had no right dipping his toes in. So we're going to set those aside and just move on. Okay. So since then, it took me like another year. No, it was probably like 4 or 5 months or something, that I got to a place where I felt more ready to explore some more. And I went with the Lamy, and I got the Lamy Safari it was the limited edition. It was the all black one. And it was only like $19 when I bought it. So I thought that would be perfect to try out and start. I love that. I got it in a fine nib, and then I ended up getting an extra fine nib all on its own to replace it. And that was a super easy process for a newbie. So I did that. And my mom came to visit like in March this year of 2020. And I let her try it out. And this is how she got into fountain pens. And she thought it was super cool. And then when she was back home, she FaceTimed me and like kind of pulled it out of her bag and said, "Oh, Sarah, look, this was in my bag. I didn't even know." And I don't really believe that story, but it's fine. I let her have it. It ended up not being a go-to pen for me once I got all my TWSBIs. So I'm happy that she has it and that she's enjoying it. And then I'll give her those Diplomats. So I saw lots of people using TWSBI Ecos, and it's a pretty affordable pen. And I really, really, really loved the demonstrator aspect. And this is kind of my jam at this point. I really love to see the inks, and I love to see the inner workings of a fountain pen because I just think they're really cool and interesting. And that was a really big selling point for me. So I got a TWSBI Eco and I got medium nib. And then I ended up getting a ton more throughout 2019. And by Christmas time, I knew this is what I wanted and what I loved. So I put this on my Christmas list for like all of our different families, like my husband's side and all of that. And so I ended up getting a bunch more. And everything is inked up except this one. This is just an extra one. I don't really like having so many inked up at once, but I'm still kind of figuring that out. This needs to be cleaned out because it's done. This had Noodler's Australian roses. Is that what it is? Black Swan in Australian roses, I believe. And I'm just not a pink person, and this isn't a deep enough, jewel toned enough ink for my taste. So I ended up giving that bottle to Robin at Talks from the Heart. I really love deep saturated colors. I have not found any kind of like gold or anything like that really jives with me. So these are all my TWSBI Ecos, and they are all medium nib. So here's the thing. That one's not labeled, but I have put these little stickers on them, and they're all numbered. And what's funny is number 1 and number 2, they are such fine tipped mediums. They write with a very thin line, and I've used a few different inks in these and they still perform that way. So I kind of have it noted that number 1 and number 2 are finer tipped, and then the rest of these write with a nice fat medium line that I would expect from a medium nib. I think it's funny how there can be variation like that, and I don't know enough. I'm still really learning, and I just don't know enough to know if that's normal. I think it is, but that's that. So obviously this is my go-to pen. I have not had any issues with these, and I've been so pleased enough that I've not wanted to go buy any other pen or try out any other kind. I have looked at a ton of other demonstrator pens, but unless I can actually go somewhere where I can try them out, I just really don't feel like spending money on those when these work beautifully, and I just really love the way that they look. I am also partial to flat tops. I don't always like the tapered look, like a cigar shape. I really love these TWSBIs because they have this nice flat top, and I love the profile of that. For some reason, it's just appealing to my eye. And these also hold so much ink. It is a piston filler. So, you know, you just kind of twist it, you dip it in the ink. Well, first you twist it down. I mean, everybody pretty much knows this, I'm pretty sure, but you dip it in your ink bottle and then you twist it up. It sucks the ink up in there and it holds so much because there's not a separate converter or cartridge. I find to be so tiny, like in these Diplomats. I mean, it's going to hold that much ink and that's it. So compared to a TWSBI, it's kind of no contest. And when I write as much as I do, it's just really, really nice to have a pen that doesn't need to be refilled over and over all the time. And I'm a really big fan of taking care of the things that I have. So with my fountain pens, I will clean them once they're empty. So like this one needs to be cleaned. If I was going to refill this with the exact same ink, I would still wash this out. I would flush this pen just because that's what everybody says. And I just want to make sure these are in good working order. And I love to be able to pass my collection of things down to my kids and grandkids at some point. So I just want to take care of these things that I have. So it's really nice that these carry or store so much ink, because then I don't have to go through that cleaning process so often. So I'm really glad about that. And I'm just so content with these pens. And I just don't have this draw to explore more in this realm. I don't find myself attracted to other kinds of pens or these with like different colors, different colored caps and non-demonstrators. I'm just happy where I am. And it took me so long to get into these. I feel like I'm just dragging my feet with fountain pens. I don't have that similar pull like I did with paper products or leather covers and that kind of thing. And even with inks too, but I'll get into that in a second. So I have these 6, and that's really enough for me to be able to enjoy the current inks that I have. I've been keeping them in this. This is a recent purchase. I got it off Etsy. I'll link the shop below. It is a vintage 1960s little clutch, and I think it is made for cosmetics. It is made in Japan. It has the made in Japan sticker still on it. And then it also has a tag inside that says made in Japan, but it has this beautiful red velvet interior, and it is so soft and it is in such great condition. And it happens to be the perfect size to hold all of these pens. And I've really been enjoying this. I may do something about covering the mirror if, you know, it clacks too much against it, but it has such a great holding capacity. It can hold all 6 of these plus these 3. So these 3, this is actually a TWSBI as well, but it is the Diamond 580 ALR. Actually, Robin lent this to me. So I'm trying this out. And she filled it with a Noodler's purple ink. I'm not sure what it is, but this is a fine tip and I really need to clean this out. It's got ink all over, but this is really fancy. And this is like TWSBI's more highbrow version. So I'm playing with this. This has a more tapered body and cap than this. And even though this costs so much more, I still find myself attracted to this body, which is so funny. It is slightly weightier, I feel like, but like this is good enough for me. As you can see, I'm still not tempted to explore more fancy options or anything. The only thing I did do was get the Platinum Curidas. I've shown this in a couple of videos, but it is the retractable demonstrator pen. And I've always admired the Pilot Vanishing Point, but it isn't a demonstrator, and I don't know what it is, but I mean, these are just my tastes, and I really love that this was a less expensive option and it came as a demonstrator. And my initial impressions of this were not like super great. I wasn't really blown away, but since I've been writing with it, I've grown attached to this. I love reaching for this, and this is a medium nib, but it writes finer than most of my TWSBIs. And I've just really been having a lot of fun with this. And I, again, still don't find myself wanting to get any more of these or any other different body colors. I'm just really happy with these clear ones. And then I got this. I like this as a smaller, more pocket-sized, more portable option. It's just the Traveler's Company brass fountain pen. So it comes out and then forms like a bit of a longer barrel, and this is okay. I got this at a really steep discount. I think this runs like $70 depending on where you get it, but Amazon had a huge discount, and thanks to John Rush, I learned that Amazon had this for $40. So I ended up grabbing it because why not? And it's okay. I don't know what I have in here. I don't write with this very often. Yeah, so I have a cartridge in here that's almost done. I may just take this out and refill the cartridge. I don't really know. Now that I have all these, I'm just not, I can tell what I'm really not into. And like these Diplomats, which is why I'm giving them to my mom. And this has become something I'm not really reaching for anymore. But I don't like that it makes my hands smell like metal after I've used it, after I just touch it. I love seeing it patina. That was one of the biggest pulls for me to buy this, but it really makes my hands smell incredibly metallic after I'm done with it. Like, look at that, so cute. So I'm keeping this just to have as a portable fountain pen option, but I'm not getting any more little fountain pens because I just don't care that much. So as far as inks go, because I love demonstrators so much, I have been pulled towards more sheening and shimmery type inks. I do not have a lot. Again, I have a very minimal collection, and I'm more interested in inks over pens as far as collecting goes, just because, I don't know, I just have more fun exploring inks. So this one is going to go, this Monteverde Green, that'll go with the Diplomats. So I just have these 7, and most of them are Organics Studio. I really love the sheen on these, but Emerald of Chivor is one of my favorites. It's that deep kind of teal emerald green with a copper sheen and gold shimmer. So it's so complex and I really, really love it. This is the Diamine and Cult Pens collab, and it is the Robert color. So it is a purple with a green sheen. And then I have Noodler's Lexington Gray, because who in this community doesn't have some Lexington Gray? So these are Organic Studio Nitrogen, which was, I think, the first one I ever really tried out, and I was really blown away. And over this past Christmas 2019, someone got me the Ralph Waldo Emerson and then Walden. And then I recently picked up Frog. And I got this with an order from Vanessa, and I went nuts on that website. It's kind of shameful, but I am going to be swatching some stuff and really honing in on the inks that I want in my collection. So I've been really wanting to try out Robert Oster inks. So I have a ton of ink samples that I got all in one order. I'm not even done yet. There's another one. So I have all of these that I need to swatch and sample. I don't want to be interrupted, and I'm just trying to find a block of uninterrupted time so I can sit down and really explore these. That last year sometime off Amazon, I just got a glass dip pen, nice and crystal clear as usual. And let's do this. I tried this and I kind of hated it. I don't like how bulbous it is right here around the grip. And I have a really bad pen grip. I mean, it's not that bad, but I usually write like this. And that's how I've always gripped my pen since I can remember. But over the last year, I have been very slowly training myself how to hold with a proper grip. And I have come to the point now that I am comfortable writing with the proper like pincher grasp like this. It took a long time and it took a lot of trial and error, and I really thought it was never going to work for me until I fiddled with it somewhat and then finally got my placement to a place where I understood how my fingers were supposed to be guiding the pen. So I need to try this again with my new and improved grasp, but this is just so far away from the tip, and I hate that. I like being like really up close, but you can't even hold it like this because that's where the ink gets sucked up. So I don't know. So I'm just going to play with this some more. I haven't picked it up in months because I don't like how long that is. But anyway, that's another kind of fountain pen or dip pen that I have. So a lot of you said I need to go ahead and make a currently inked notebook to keep things straight. And I have been wanting to do that, but you guys kind of gave me the kick in the butt that I needed. I pulled this notebook out of my notebook stash. It's from GLP Creations. It's the Author Notebook. This is just on Amazon. I will have it linked below. It is a dot grid numbered notebook. It is 68 GSM Tomoe River paper. Yeah, and that is my favorite weight of Tomoe River paper. I like the 52, but I don't know, it just isn't my favorite. So this is a really lovely notebook. It has 192 pages. It has a table of contents. It comes with a blotter sheet. And I've just written down everything that I have inked. And you know what? I didn't know what number 1 was in. I don't know if it's Ralph or Walden. Let me see if I can figure that out. All right, I think it's Walden, but you know what? Since we're here, let's just go ahead and write with this. Oh, it's been ages. I think that's it. So what was it? So it's Walden. Ugh, this is the worst. Hold on, let me move all my samples. All right, I'm gonna try to grip it properly all the way up here. Oh my gosh. Ugh. Nope, I hate it. That's so ugly. It is Walden though. Yeah. So let me try to grip it further down. I hate it. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to get like a proper dip pen. I need to dip this in some water, but I think I just need an actual like fountain pen dip pen. They're just dip pens, yeah. Instead of this glass one. I don't like that at all. Okay. All right, so that's what I've been doing. All of my inks are very bright, shiny, sheening, or shimmery, minus my Traveler's Company that has just the cartridge. And this is the Noodlers that Robin had put in the Diamond TWSBI. So they're all so fun to play with. And then I just like having Lexington gray because it's just a good basic color, and it's also a bulletproof ink, so it will withstand the test of time. Okay, so here's the thing. All of these, like most of these samples, are not really sheening or shimmering. They're probably just shading type of inks. And I really want to find just normal inks that have nice shading and really rich colors. And I am stepping into the world of vintage fountain pens. I've always had a pull towards vintage things, as you can see. I should do a video of all of my vintage bags. I have some specifically for the purpose of using for my stationery hobby, but I used to go vintage shopping all the time, and I really miss that. Like, since I've had kids, it's just been incredibly difficult, and I've moved, so the friends that used to go with me on those little adventures, we're not in the same state anymore, so it's just, things aren't the same, and I've really been rediscovering my love for vintage recently. So anyway, I feel a really strong pull towards vintage fountain pens, and I've really tried to convince myself otherwise because I just like don't want to go down that road. But I've already bought one. It's on the way, so I will talk about that at that time. But I'm so excited. It's a Sheaffer and it looks amazing. And for some reason, I want to use like non-shimmery, you shouldn't use shimmering inks and things like that in a vintage pen anyway, but I feel like I want these flatter colors in a vintage pen, and I don't like having them in my demonstrators. I want these for the sheening and shimmering inks because they're just more attractive that way. So that's where I'm headed with all of this. I don't think that regular modern fountain pens is the niche for me. I don't feel that way about it. I don't feel compelled to be a collector in this realm. But for vintage fountain pens, though, I feel a lot different about those. So we'll see where that takes me. But yeah, so I have been logging all of my currently inked, and I will just keep this notebook for that purpose. No leather cover. I like just having it like this. It's just a really great reference book, and I don't have to worry about messing up any leather or anything like that. And then I have a little notebook that I'm keeping to log all of my vintage stuff. Currently, it's just the vintage bags that I have acquired recently, but I will also have the other half of this to log all of the vintage fountain pen. Oh my God. All of the vintage fountain pen, like the one that I'm getting, and then probably gonna get like 10 more by the end of the year. You know how it goes. And you know what's interesting is I'm not buying any more leather, really. I think the last one I bought was like my Maker South A6 when I was using the Hobonichi Day Free, and that was the last one I bought for this year. And I just have no interest exploring leather covers anymore because I've had a really great journey with that and I had so much fun, but I'm just at a point where I'm very content with what I have. And also I've been learning to make my own, and I can make it in the leather that I really, really love. So I'm not exploring that really anymore. And I've really gone through a lot of the different papers, and I'm pretty happy with where I am as far as my paper preferences go. So I don't really have anything that I'm buying other than the little bits of ephemera for journaling, like stickers and things like that. So it seems obvious to me that of course I'm going to pick up another expensive hobby to replace the expensive hobbies that I've kind of grown out of at this point. So here comes vintage fountain pens. What are you going to do? Anyway, I don't know how I'm going to swatch these. I don't know. Do you guys even want to see that on camera? I might like fast forward something. I don't know. I'm still working that out. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I really need to wrap this up. I will see you all again soon. Bye.